Susanna or Shoshana is included in the Book of Daniel by the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches. It is one of the additions to Daniel, considered apocryphal by Protestants. It is listed in Article 6 of the 39 Articles of the Church of England among the books which are included in the Bible but not for the formation of doctrine. It is not included in the Jewish Tanakh and is not mentioned in early Jewish literature, although the text does appear to have been part of the original Septuagint and was revised by Theodotion, Hellenistic Jewish redactor of the Septuagint text. Summary. As the story goes, a fair Hebrew wife named Susanna was falsely accused by lecherous voyeurs, as she bathes in her garden. Having sent her attendants away, two lustful elders secretly observed the lovely Susanna. When she makes her way back to her house, they accost her, threatening to claim that she was meeting a young man in the garden unless she agrees to have sex with them. She refuses to be blackmailed and is arrested and about to be put to death for promiscuity when a young man named Daniel interrupts the proceedings, shouting that the elders should be questioned to prevent the death of an innocent. After being separated, the two men are questioned about details of what they saw but disagree about the tree under which Susanna supposedly met her lover. In the Greek text, the names of the trees cited by the elders form puns with the sentence given by Daniel. The first says they were under a mastic, and Daniel says that an angel stands ready to cut him in two. The second says they were under an evergreen oak tree, and Daniel says that an angel stands ready to saw him in two. The great difference in size between a mastic and an oak makes the elders lie plain to all the observers. The false accusers are put to death, and virtue triumphs. Date and textual history. The Greek puns in the texts have been cited by some as proof that the text never existed in Hebrew or Aramaic, but other researchers have suggested pairs of words for trees and cutting that sound similar enough to suppose that they could have been used in an original. The Anchor Bible uses u and q and clove and cleave to get this effect in English. The Greek text survives in two versions. The received version is due to Theodotion. This has superseded the original Septuagint version, which now survives only in Syriac translation, in Papyrus 967, and exceptionally in a single medieval Mazd known as Codex Kishinus 88. Sextus Julius Africanus did not regard the story as canonical. Jerome, while translating the Vulgate, treated this section as a non-canonical fable. In his introduction, he indicated that Susanna was an apocryphal addition because it was not present in the Hebrew text of Daniel. Origen also noted the story's absence in the Hebrew text, observing that it was hidden by the Jews in some fashion. There are no known early Jewish references to the Susanna story. Depictions in art. The story was frequently painted from about 1470, not least because of the possibilities it offered for a prominent nude female in a history painting. Paintings of Bathsheba bathing offered an alternative subject with the same advantages, and both also offered an opportunity to include classical sculpture and architecture in their settings. Susanna is the subject of paintings by many artists, including Lorenzo Lotto, Guido Reni, Rubens, Van Dyck, Tintoretto, Rembrandt, Tiepolo, and Artemisia Gentileschi. Some treatments, especially in the Baroque period, emphasize the drama. Others concentrate on the nude. A 19th-century version by Francesco Hayes has no elders visible at all. The story is portrayed on the Lothair crystal, an engraved rock crystal made in the Lotharingia region of northwest Europe in the mid-9th century, now in the British Museum. In 1749, George Frederick Handel wrote an English-language oratorio Susanna. Susanna is the subject of the 1915 poem Peter Quince at the Clavier by Wallace Stevens, which has been set to music by the American composer Dominic Argento and by the Canadian Gerald Berg. American artist Thomas Hart Benton painted a modern Susanna in 1938, now at the De Young Museum in San Francisco. He consciously included pubic hair, unlike the statue-like images of classical art. The fable was set during the Great Depression, and Benton included himself as one of the voyeurs. The Belgian writer Marnix Gijssen borrows elements of the story in his first novel Het Werk van Joachim van Babylon, 1947. Pablo Picasso, too, rendered the subject in the mid-20th century, depicting Susanna much as he depicts his other less abstract reclining nudes. The elders are depicted as paintings hanging on the wall behind her. The picture, painted in 1955, is part of the permanent collection at the Museo Picasso Malaga. The American opera Susanna by Carlisle Floyd, which takes place in the American South of the 20th century, is also inspired by this story, but with a less than happy ending and with the elders replaced by a hypocritical traveling preacher who rapes Susanna. Shakespeare refers to this biblical episode in the trial scene of The Merchant of Venice, where first Shylock and then Gratiano praise Portia as being a second Daniel, because of her sound judgments. Selected works: Susanna and the Elders by Massimo Stanzione, Susanna and the Elders by Giuseppe Bartolomeo Chiari, The Walters Art Museum, Susanna and the Elders by Alessandro Alleri.